might have life, and that more abundantly. Life, and that more abundantly.
Evening star, send to us thy heart's love light, brighter for sun not go far as great night, holding the torch through terror's long night.
Arise, shine, for thy light is come, and the glory of the Lord is risen upon thee. The earth is the Lord's, and the fullness thereof. The earth is the Lord's, and the fullness thereof. The earth is the Lord's, and the fullness thereof.
I am come into the world, I am come into the world.
I am come into the world not to condemn the world, but that through the Christ in me I call forth God victory, and for all eternity I now live to set life free.
Oh, victory set life free. Oh, victory set life free. Oh, victory set life free.
I am come into the world not to condemn the world, but that through the Christ in me I call forth God victory, and for all eternity I now live to set life free.
Oh, victory set life free. Oh, victory set life free. Oh, victory set life free. I am 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 victory set life free. Victory's legions we send thee. 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 Hail victory, I am free.
Esper, thou bright evening star,
Welcome, heart friends around the world, on Facebook, YouTube, the Heart Center website. Thank you for joining us in this meditation and participating on this September 17th, 2019. God bless you one and all. That piece of music that we just experienced opens dimensions and portals of light from the glory of God into time and space. And there is an inner message in the release of energy that one experiences when meditating on this piece of music. One that I saw was to be able to stand in the presence of God. And that is the goal of meditation, that is the focus of this meditation. To stand in the presence of a divine being like Sanat Kumara, the power, the experience, how the angels, billions and billions of angels surrounding him as the solar logoi, the word embodied, the representative of the sun in form. In that experience, one is changed. One is raised. Every particle of your being is filled with light. I have never seen Sanat Kumara in person, or not even in a dream. I've read stories, books from China, from the Vedas, from the Theosophical Society. And as we know in hierarchy, there are levels. And then there are levels. And the highest conceivable level, besides Alpha, Father God, Omega, Mother, would be Sanat Kumara. So let us take that in and start this meditation. This room is buzzing with angels. O Father, Mother, God in the highest, beyond all names, beyond all form, in the Holy of Holies, in every particle of time and space and matter, we lift our hearts, our souls, our beings, and we resonate. We raise our vibration as we see Thee more clearly. Come and fill each one. Bless each one. O Holy Spirit, O fire of God, O light of lights, the source of all. If you choose in this meditation to stand before the flame of God, naked, open, and just be subsumed and consumed by the fire. And in that light is the answer. In that light is the question. In that light is all seeing. In that light is your home. In that light there is love. Like no other. And peace. There is no desire. let's come back. With eyes closed, we can still see the night sky above our house, the twinkling stars, the full moon from last week. The stars are said to be the eyes of the angels. Each light, that sparkling light, is a blessing, is a divine virtue, and it speaks to our souls in a silent language about our eternal family. Now living in the heavens. There is a planet Venus, the brightest of the planets. A certain time of the year you can see Venus so clearly. It is our sister planet that long ago the inhabitants all ascended, all saints and masters now, and live not on the physical plane, but in a spiritual plane around the planet itself, where there is this temple. There are angels that live on that planet also, like no other. Gigantic angels. Composed of pure light. Living fire. I can see Venus so clearly now in my inner vision. And to think the universe has so many planets like that, so many stars. We are the children of the stars. Well, everybody is coming back to their physical temples. I'll do a little sharing. On our journey, our walk with God, while we are dancing here in time and space, the Divine Mother has many secrets that she has in nature. For those who have eyes to see and ears to hear, who quiet their minds enough, will be led to these secrets, these mysteries, which are a great game to play with the Divine Mother. She calls it hide and seek. There are so many different mysteries out there. And last week we were talking about trees, the power of trees. Their spiritual function is somewhat of a mystery. In the Bible, in the Old Testament, there is mention of a holy tree, a tree so valuable to the Israelites that King Solomon gave 21 cities away for some of these trees. What could be so valuable in these trees? The Ark of the Covenant was lined in cedar wood from Lebanon. The temple of the Holy of Holies inside was built and lined with this cedar wood. In Zoroastrianism, the fire of God was invoked by burning cedar resin. The cedar tree is a beautiful tree, but it's like it's from another planet. It has a divine power inside of it. It is a witness to the cosmic clocks and the stars of the heavens turning. Ava and I have been reading Anastasia's book, and I'd like to just read a couple paragraphs of this book. And it's very interesting. It talks about the trees, the cedar tree. Just a little background. This Russian trader was journeying down this river into the Siberian forests, looking for something to buy or sell for his business. And he stopped in a little nothing village where he was approached by two old men. A conversation ensued, and two old men was asking him if they could take his crew and get this tree, cut down this tree, because this tree was ringing. And this tree only rings for a couple years and then it stops. So that's where the story starts. And it is a fascinating story. I'll just start right here. There was a very pleasant fragrance emanating from both of these old men. I could feel it, and even though I'm a smoker, like all smokers, have a dull sense of smell. And there was one other peculiarity. I suddenly became aware of certain phrases in their speech of these strangers that was not common with the residents of this isolated part of the north. Some of them I remember to this day, even the intonations associated with them. Here is what the old fellow told me. God created cedar to store cosmic energy. When someone is in a state of love, they emit a radiant energy. It takes but a split second for it to reflect off the planets floating overhead and come back to Earth and give life to everything that breathes. The sun is one of those planets. It reflects but a tiny fraction of such radiance. Only bright rays can travel into space from man on the Earth. And only beneficial rays can be reflected from space back to Earth. Under the influence of malicious feelings, man can emit only dark rays. These dark rays cannot rise but fall into the depths of the Earth. Bouncing off its core, they return to the surface and form volcanic eruptions or earthquakes, wars, etc. The accumulating achievement of these dark rays is their direct effect on man or originating them, invariably extricating this man's own malicious feelings. Cedars live to be 550 years old. Day and night, their millions of needles catch and store the whole spectrum of bright energy. During this period of the cedar's life, all celestial bodies which reflect this bright energy pass above them. Even in one tiny piece of cedar, there is more energy beneficial to man than in all the man-made energy installations taken together. Cedars receive the energy emanating from man through space, store it up, in the right moment, give it back. They give it back when there is not enough of it in space, and consequently in man or in anything living and growing on Earth. Occasionally, though very rarely, one discovers cedars that have been storing up the energy but not giving it back they have stored. After 500 years of their life, they start to ring. This is how they talk to us. Through their quiet ringing sound, this is the signal. This is how they signal people to take them and cut them down to make use of their stored up energy on earth. This is what the Cedars are asking with their ringing sound. They keep on asking for 3 whole years. If they don't contact any living human beings, then in 3 years, deprived of the opportunity to give back what they have received and stored through the cosmos, they lose their ability and give it back directly to men. And then they will start burning up the energy internally. This process of burning and dying lasts 70 years. Not long ago, we discovered a cedar like this. We determined it had been ringing for 2 years already, and the ringing very, very softly. This is the 2 old men talking to the trader. Perhaps it is trying to draw out its request over a long period of time, but still there is only 1 year left. It must be given to the people. The old man spoke at length, and for some reason I chose to hear him out. The sound at first quietly confident, then very excited. Each time he got excited, he would rub this piece of cedar with his fingertips, as though he were lightly tripping over some kind of musical instrument. So this is a story about the ringing cedars. I thought about it when I was reading about it, and I knew that some of these trees that we saw in Yosemite, in the mountains, some of them were cedars. And some of the sequoias are part of that family. So I did a little research about the ringing cedars. It happens rarely, infrequently. But sure enough, I was able to buy one. And I'll pass it around the... Actually, I bought 3. Ava has one too. I'll pass it around the room. There are instructions that come with this piece of wood. You stand in the sun with your bare feet, and you close your eyes, and you hold the cedar with your thumb and your 2 fingers. And the stored cosmic energy from that ringing cedar will start to come up. You'll feel it in your heart. You'll feel it in your mind. And if you listen very closely, you can hear the stars in heaven singing their song through the cedar, the ringing cedar. The story continued as the trader, the man that was out there looking to buy and sell things, was talking to these old men, and he told them, women would never buy these. They like diamonds and rubies and gold and silver. And the 2 old men laughed, and they said, oh, this is so much more valuable than any of those. This is so much more valuable. The tree is about 10 miles in the forest, they were telling him, we need to, the tree is asking us to cut this tree down and give it to our families and friends, and every person make these little pendants. And the salesman said, I don't think there's a market for it, and got on his boat, and they sailed down the river, and the two old men just watched them bewildered, not understanding why they didn't see the value in what they were going to give him the tree. They were going to say, you take it, you give it to everybody. Besides the cedar tree, there are cedar nuts. There's the cedar resin. There are many parts of this tree that have divine gifts, energies stored up in the tree that the two old mystics use on a daily basis. Now, my experience with the pendant, and I've had it for about a week, and I've been wearing it every day, is a very soft piece. I've wore jade before, and jade has a very cooling energy to it, but not like this. It is a very grounding, very strengthening energy. And a ringing cedar, with its ability to store cosmic energy, was a concept I didn't consider, I didn't know about, but one that I've experienced now and know that it is true. It's a reason, there's a reason why they built the Holy of Holies lined in cedar, the Ark of the Covenant lined in cedar. It has a rare ability to store cosmic energy. The cedar resin, in Zoroastrianism, they use that to invoke the fire of God. And I have a feeling they use that in the temples of the great masters, east and west, in other dimensions. And I'm sure they used it in Egypt. It's a fun book, I would have to say. It goes beyond tradition. It goes beyond what we would consider the norms. The story continues, and this guy comes back because now he has a memory of this event, and he meets this lady, and her name is Anastasia. And it turns out that he didn't recognize her at first. She was wearing clothes of a much older lady, but later on he realized it was a young lady. Relationship ensued, and she is a mystic, still alive in the Siberian forest in Russia today, and had this approach to life that was unique. I think there's been over 10 million copies sold in 20 languages. There's a whole series of books, I think there are 9 of them, called the Ringing Cedar series. Anastasia. And that's where this type of gardening, permaculture, originates. The whole gardening how one could live off the land with just like a half an acre, and how to plant your food. It's a whole philosophy about growing and communicating with God, with the stars, with Mother Earth, with your plants, in a real relationship. I think several years ago we did a little experiment. I brought some seeds and gave them out to everybody. And Anastasia says that if you take the seed and soak it in your mouth for 10 or 20 minutes, the divine intelligence within the seed absorbs the DNA of your body. It analyzes what your body needs. And when you plant that plant, it has your DNA in the seed, and it will grow the remedy for whatever is bothering your body temple. If your body needs liver support, the plant knows to grow something, take from the earth and put it in the fruit so that you would eat it, so that it would heal. This is the divine intelligence that Mother Earth has instilled in every plant, and how to cooperate with nature on that level. We live in a society now where we go to the grocery store and things are produced in these like factory-like hydroponic systems that never see the light, the true light of the sun. And they never even touch the earth anymore. The food is losing its cosmic nutrients that the plant needs to get from Mother Earth and from the stars, and put it into its fruit for mankind, because that is their divine purpose, to heal us, to keep us healthy, so that we could flower into that divinity of our destiny. So by growing your own food, by communicating with Mother Earth and the plants every day, they watch you, they see you. You are the mother to them as you water them. And your frequency, your light, as you touch them and caress them in the garden, gives them the intelligence, the information about you, so that they can fulfill their purpose, you could fulfill your purpose, and Mother Earth fulfills her purpose. And to lose touch with that, to lose touch of that ability of it's such a simple yet powerful truth about gardening, growing your own food. We have been disconnected from that in our modern society. We have been cut off in like these giant factories where they, kill chickens and cows and and plant food like GMO and all that. So take a look at those books. It's a fascinating read. It's a fun read. How Anastasia talks about how she can talk with the stars, how she can go in the past, how she can go into the future, travel in her consciousness. She is, according to the masters, a living avatar who lives in the Siberian forest. And is bringing back this knowledge, this wisdom, back to humanity. And there are many, many permaculture groups coming out of every corner of the world, growing their own food, using her system, her philosophy, and it's a lot of fun. So far, I've only grown tomatoes and zucchini and what? And chilies. I got some serrano chilies. I got. I'm using the techniques on my guava tree and my avocado tree too. So it's a lot of fun. Take a look at that. Ava, did you experience anything with your pendant? She only wore it one time. Okay. It's something. It is something. Does anybody have any comments about that they'd like to share? For those of you online, Michael, I see you, Victoria. Everybody else, if you would like to share your experiences with that book or with, let us know and I'll read it out. It's interesting to think, I didn't really realize it or even consider that by just going to the grocery store and buying my lettuce or tomatoes or whatever, you know, I don't know how it was grown. We don't know. And I've seen videos of these slaughterhouses with chickens, and it seems like, you know, it's the antithesis of what I think the Divine Mother would want for her children. Ava grew up on a little farm. You know, her dad was a farmer. He grew everything. They had to get the eggs in the morning, eat whatever was ripe at the time. Everything was done by hand. And there is that interaction that is a sacred exchange between the earth, the elemental being of the plant, and the evolving soul that takes place. And it is all part of the spiritual journey. It is all part of the Divine Mother's plan. And somehow, in cities, we've lost it. We've lost that contact. In the Heart Center movement, it's a big part of the movement is to get these permaculture farms growing around the world. And there are several people who do lecturing tours, talks about permaculture, how to work with certain plants, how to get your land ready, make yourself a food forest where you walk out in your backyard and things are growing, and you just, like Anastasia does in the book, she just walks, sees something, like a seed or something, and eats it, pulls it off right then, and eats it, and then keeps walking. It's all in your food forest garden. It seems idyllic, it seems like utopian, but we know that's what's coming. That is the golden age, because that's where the freedom lies for each person. Each soul is in the garden. And of course, when we get older, we hire someone to take care of it for us. But when we're younger and stuff, and when I was younger too, I wanted to have that utopian experience, living off the land with Mother Nature, in a jungle or a forest. We have that inner vision, and that vision comes from deep within our souls as part of the divine blueprint of the Divine Mother's plan for the soul to flower. Well, I went on a little long. I think I got Carlos in samadhi. So we have some, what do we have for snack, Eva? Sandia. I don't know what that is, but it sounds good. God bless you, everybody, on the broadcast. We'll be broadcasting again tomorrow, 7:30 for Divine Mother Worship Service. And then again also on Thursday. Good night, and God bless you. See you in spirit in the etheric retreats of the Ascended Masters.